rolling! Yeah! All night long.
What's good,
What's
y'all?
up?
Making the Walk podcast, episode 17. We're getting up there in the numbers now. We're getting up there. So we're going to talk about a few things, primarily UFC Singapore. But before we get into that, make sure that you like, subscribe, share, all those good things. We've been seeing some good numbers, like an uptick in our numbers, which I'm super happy about. And we just got to keep doing it, keep sharing it, keep getting it out there. But jumping right into it, UFC Singapore this past Saturday, an early card, which played perfectly for us because it was our anniversary weekend. So we were able to go and kick it and see fights. So it's hard to beat that.
Yeah, but it was really weird, right? Because I didn't know it was going to start so early. And when I woke up, I was like, what the fuck is going on? What time is it?
Yeah, you woke up during the Anthony Smith and Ryan Spann fight.
No, I think
that
I woke
that
up
shit
like,
almost over.
No, I woke up after Korean Zombie.
Was it after that? I thought you
Yeah, because you were like, do you want to know? I was like, don't tell me. Don't tell me. Just let me.
No, you're right. Yeah, that's right. That's right. You're right.
No, actually, I asked you to. What happened? Something happened because I knew he got knocked out. No, so you tell me. You told me. But it was.
Did I tell you?
Yeah, you did because remember I said I know he gets knocked out, but I still had a pretty good reaction to it.
It's funny you said it like it was a movie script or something. Like, well, I know he gets knocked out in the end. It's what it showed in the trailer. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Normally, I don't like to know. Like when I didn't know what happened to Kamaru Usman, and I was like, "Don't fucking tell me." I was upset because I missed it.
Yeah,
so this one, I was crazy. Okay. Yeah, no, you can tell me.
But it was like really special. It's probably the best send off that I've seen the UFC do.
Yeah,
I think they did a good job with
sure.
Robbie Lawler, but like this one was like on another level as far as like, and it was really like the production team. I think it was the production team that really like was like, okay, we're just gonna let this moment breathe. So it was dope going in and coming out. But the fight itself was typical Korean Zombie. But you went back and watched the fight. What did you think of the fight in seeing it for your first time? I'd already seen it, so like
that was an amazing fight. Like Max, I think that what I said like while watching was he just keeps getting better, and I thought that he should be champ, but that would just mean that Volk would have to leave the division, and I'm not sure that would happen.
No, I mean that's not fair, I guess. I mean fair in the sense
like Volk,
of
like I love you, Mama G, you gotta go because this guy kind of deserves it, but no.
I mean it's crazy. Like they showed a graphic of like Max's wins. I mean, and he's on like a 17 fight winning streak outside of Volkanovski. He's beating everybody else. It's crazy.
Yeah, that's super unfortunate.
It is. And what makes it worse to me is how close those first two fights were. And I think that he won the second one. Like, that's what makes it even worse. The third one was not close at all. Volk smashed him. That was easy for him. He made it look like it was light work, but the second fight was very, very close, and I thought that Max won, but that's what's unfortunate, and it puts the division in a weird position. Not as bad as it was for Merab and Aljamain when they were the top two, but like you have two clear contenders at the top, but they've fought 3 times. So
I just realized I still had my conference badge on, by the way. So let me take that off.
Oh yeah, I thought you were just up on the flare.
Yeah,
I was like,
repping user testing out here, like.
and she's really leaning in. Like she's really about that shit for real.
I really wasn't
about to get this user testing tattoo in a minute.
No. All right, so I'm at a conference, guys, and it's actually pretty cool. But you got to check out a baseball game. That is probably the best one I've ever been to. Mm-hmm. Actually, did you happen to look at the score?
No, I didn't. I just looked to see that the Rangers won, and that's all that matters to me right now.
Okay.
I'm worried about them.
You're gonna be like, Mariners suck ass. Like when I get back home, dude. I don't know if it was like outfield was fucking terrible, or the pitcher was just like, fuck it, have the balls, or they're like Seattle has some badass fucking batters, because it was probably like 0 to like 6 or 7 or something like that. It was
who were they playing?
Oakland.
Oh, Oakland is trash. So
yeah, I didn't know that. And then
they are
ironically,
a junior varsity high school team at this point. Like it's bad.
They almost got a double play actually, which was probably the most exciting part of the game for me. But yeah, I like that shit.
I feel really bad for the Oakland A's fans. Oakland, I believe they're moving also. So like they're about to lose their team, and they're going out with a whimper. Yeah. It's
ironically, I didn't even know they were playing Oakland, but we watched The Big Short, so I ended up like downloading Money. Is it called Moneyball?
Mm-hmm. Moneyball. Yeah.
Okay, so that's actually what I had downloaded for the play, but I ended up watching that Khabib interview. I don't know if you've seen it, but
I haven't seen the whole one.
Hilarious. I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I need to check it out. I mean, like, I'm kind of when Khabib said that he was going to take a break, I said I was going to take a break too. So whatever he does now,
anything Khabib, I'm like, fucking, I'm going to eat it.
I like Khabib a lot, and I like him in DC.
I love him, yeah.
Specifically him in DC. They are so hilarious. But
I think
like, right now, I feel like he's the champion of eating burgers. Yeah.
What do you mean he's the champion of eating burgers? What are you saying?
Of eating burgers. He's just getting round. That's all I'm saying.
That's messed up. Okay, I thought you were going to avoid it and be like, no, he just... Because he has like his whole burger thing, right? So...
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. But, I mean...
Anyway, okay. I'm sorry. I know we're talking about...
He's enjoying retirement. I'll say that. He's very much enjoying it.
There's some, like, part in the... You said you didn't watch the interview?
No, I didn't.
All right. There's a part in the interview where he's kind of talking about people in general and the people that he is, like, giving a warning to about what they say to him. He's like, it's not a good idea. Basically, to talk shit to him.
Well, in that case, I apologize for saying that you're around, sir. I would never insult any sort of shapes or anything that has to do with you. Any sort of shapes? I apologize for your roundness and for me pointing it out. You can be as round as you want. I don't want no trouble.
It's really good. It's actually really good. You should watch it. Yeah. But back to Max and Korean Zombie. But what did you think about him? Like his performance? Did you expect him to go out and do what he did? Because he had a Korean Zombie.
Korean Zombie.
Yeah,
I will say Volkanovski. Korean Zombie. Yes, I did actually expect him to do that. I expected him to look slower than Max. I mean, but that's just age. That's really all it is. But you
mentioned him being slow, but
yeah, but I felt like Max was just going to be able to touch him before Korean Zombie got to him. But I will say, Zombie landed some big punches.
Did you look at any stats? I didn't check it out yet.
I haven't looked at any stats, but I do remember from the fight that the first round was a lot closer than a lot of people expected, especially coming off of that Volkanovski fight where he just never looked like he was in the fight. In that first round, he did look like he was a considerable power match for Max. You know, when Korean Zombie hit him, like you could see that it had an effect. No matter how slow that he may have gotten during this time, he retained that power, and he was landing some shots for sure. But Max has a legendary chin, like legendary. He has the most strikes in UFC history, and I'm pretty sure he has the most strikes absorbed in UFC history too.
Max?
Yeah,
that's the thing. I think not too long ago we were talking about that. So I think that from Max's side, it's what I thought he was going to do, except for the knockout part. I thought that maybe he would finish him from an accumulation of punches, because that's just what he tends to do, just out volumes people. But I mean, he landed a big right hand to put him down. So that was and I think that even though you told me he got knocked out, it was the way he got knocked out, like face plant, you know, and then it's Korean Zombie. So what did I add? My thing was like, oh no.
Yeah. You know what too? Speaking of him being Korean Zombie, you know, he was in a choke, a decently locked on Darce choke, slash, you know,
it's a combination, right? It's a combination choke.
Combination choke. It was a combination choke. It was a Max choke.
Special. How about that?
Front head combination.
Hit him with
darts.
a Max special.
But it didn't work. So Zombie just kept on walking and getting out of it. And, I mean, like releasing the tension on his neck. And Max was like, well, shit, man. What do I got to do?
Why won't you? He was like, why won't you die? Like that. I was confused too. I thought that he was asleep, you know? And then he kept it
seemed like it.
Twisting out of it.
Yeah, he did. I mean, that's just what zombies do. But it's just like any zombie movie. To get him out of there, it's got to be a headshot. So, and that's what he hit him with. That's what put him down.
I see what you did there.
That's
nice.
Yeah.
I like it. I like
Been
it.
Been working on it. You know what I'm saying? Been watching Ryan Clark, you know. Jason Timpf from the Volume.
That's
you know
super RC.
That's a deep cut. That was an RC. Shout out to the Pivot Podcast. I've been studying y'all. You know what I'm saying?
They've been studying us. Okay.
All right.
I've been seeing Ryan taking a lot of my talking points. Okay. It's okay because we're the same personality. We're the same.
It's funny too, 'cause I haven't watched. I make it a point to not watch their podcast. And when I mention not watching their podcast for y'all, I'm talking about RC and DC. They do an amazing job, and a lot of the things that they talk about, we have talked about on the podcast. And so, in a sense, it was like, okay, well, let's see who gets the podcast out first. Obviously, they have a much larger audience, but like for the people that do listen to us, they're like, if they do listen to both, they're like, okay, this sounds like the same shit. So we try to beat them out. But what's funny about RC and DC is, I guess, the banter that they have between them two. The way that they
RC is a bully. Okay?
Yeah, he is he is.
He is a bully, but he's still a casual that ended up like loving it, you know. So we'll have this like a similar perspective. So
that's true. That's true.
And then like DC. I mean, he's an athlete.
Yeah,
he was an athlete. So. You can still say he is an athlete, right? Or no? Does that get taken away once you're...
He's a former pro athlete.
Okay, there we go. All right.
I think it doesn't get taken away. You just have to add some words. He's a former pro athlete.
You have to add some stipulations.
you know.
Yeah.
Just
But anyway,
a couple of caveats. But
he's been around the sport for a long time, very knowledgeable, and that's you. Like, you've been watching and writing about it for
a while.
Watching for like over a decade, right? And then you wrote about it for some time, and now you're writing again. So y'all have a similar perspective about it. But he is a bully. RC is a big ass bully. Like, I think Usman came on the show, and Usman pops in. And he's like, "That suit was foul." That's the first thing he said. I'm like, "Damn, okay." And Usman took it. I was like, "Okay, Ryan."
Yeah, Ryan will come at you in the most respectful way, but he gonna come at you though.
That shit was disrespectful. Very disrespectful.
I think he is like my favorite media member right now. For sure. Just the way that he's able to kind of flow in and out of these different spaces and be so knowledgeable about them. And like, he shows that he studies, you know, it and respects what people are doing. And just the way that he's able to continue get a conversation going and show the work that he's done in some of the statements that he says to set up the questions and how fluid he is. It's almost like you feel like he's done media first and then was an athlete rather than the way that it is. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's very true. He found his space. And
he did.
It's easy to admire what he does, for sure.
For sure. Definitely. Admire both them dudes, for sure. But they're probably going to talk about the same shit. They're not going to talk about themselves, but they're going to talk about some of the same shit that we're talking about, for sure.
Well, actually, the last episode I saw was they took some time to watch a video, like, compilation that I don't know who made it, if it was like an ESPN thing or whatever, but they did take some time to, like, okay, we've come a long way.
Oh yeah, they got a new opening. Yeah. That's what it was.
They got an opening.
Yeah.
I like it. I just wish that they would have their own channel so that I don't have to be subscribed to ESPN. Because I would rather not be subscribed to ESPN. And that way their videos would just come in, you know what I mean? To my feed without me having to subscribe
it's just
to
under ESPN MMA, I think. But yeah, it is generic.
But it's not their own channel. So it's like there's other videos, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't want it. Some feedback for you guys if y'all, you know, because I know y'all listen. So.
Oh yeah, they listen, of course. You know that. So going back to Max,
we were talking about
what do you think is next for Max?
I mean, I said what I said. I think he's supposed to be champ. You know. But
how you gonna do that though? Like you can't make
because the only thing that's next for him is fucking vault. What else is there? Like, okay, matter of fact, I think what I said was he didn't even have to take this fight. Like,
he didn't.
And it's fun. It's hilarious because it was like 10 times better than what probably anybody thought was gonna happen. Like, when's the last time he knocked somebody out cold like that, where their fucking face bounced off the canvas? So
it's been a while. He's had some amazing performances, but it's been a while since he did that.
Matter of fact, okay, so that's why I'm like, he keeps getting better somehow. Like, Allen, that was, where is this coming from?
That's a young killer. So he beat up a young killer, then he beat up an old killer. He's like, you know, the thing that he said in the press conference is that he wanted to make himself undeniable. Well, I mean, he's been undeniable. What else can you do? What else is there? I mean, like
Volk. That's all.
You know what? Too. Like, what's funny, and I think you remember this, is like Volkanovski was doing an interview with Ariel Helwani, and he said, "Just don't let Ilia Topuria fight Max Holloway." And that's just the ultimate compliment because he's like, because he's like, no, don't let him fight Max because then I'll never fight him. He's never gonna get to me. So it's like. True. Yeah, that's the ultimate compliment. He recognizes that, dude, there's nobody here that can beat either one of us. We just have to beat each other. That's the only thing that we can do.
Yeah. Well, Vogue doesn't say that. Vogue's like, you just got to beat me. Then
Yeah.
Track record. So.
Yeah.
Well, what do you think? What do you think is next for him? Like, what do you think he should do? Because he can't. I won't say he can't beat Volk, but go on.
I would say there's two different things. There's what he should do and what he can do, or what he will do, shall I say? Like, in what he should do, I think, is test the waters at lightweight. Go up there and see. Fight.
I like that. I think,
fight one of the top contenders at lightweight and just see what's up.
Like who? No name.
I mean, there's a few of them that already have fights, but I would say somebody that's more striking based. So if Fiziev didn't have a fight, like that would be a fight that I would like to see him against Rafael Fiziev. I don't necessarily want to see him against a wrestler at 155. I just don't think that would. If you're gonna have him go up in weight, it needs to be an exciting fight. So him against like an Arman Sarukian just doesn't really, or him unfortunately against Benail Dariush doesn't really, get it going like that. But him against a striker like Fiziev would be amazing. Now Fiziev is already matched up against Gamrot, but
he already fought Dustin, right?
Who?
He fought Dustin Poirier
Max?
already. Yeah,
he's fought him.
That's who
twice.
he lost the interim to.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
He's fought him twice. And he's lost to him both times. Now, I mean, they could do that a third time, but I mean, like I feel like there's the steam is lost on that. Mm-hmm. But I would like to see him. How long ago was that? I mean, it's been a while. Like there had to be that's pre-COVID, I believe. Yeah, it's pre-COVID. So
Dustin and Justin fought 5 years apart.
Yeah, true. But they hadn't already fought twice though. So I mean, that might have something to do. But I mean, if the UFC were to book that, ain't nobody gonna say no. Like as far as like the crowd, I mean, like the MMA fans are not gonna say no to that.
No, they're not. It was 2019.
Okay, so it was
too far out.
Yeah. So I mean, that's a fight. But I would like to see him go up to lightweight and test the waters up there. In the meantime, because then you're not going to be, I know he doesn't want to lose his position. Because what if the unthinkable happens and Ilia Topuria beats Alexander Volkanovski? Max wants to be ready to take that next title shot. Because if anybody else holds the belt, Max is the fight for them. Anybody else, just name a person. If they hold the belt, Max is the fight. But
right,
I just don't think there's any work left to do at featherweight outside of a fourth fight against Alexander Volkanovski. Because another reason is if Max were to beat Volk in a rematch, then now you have to give Volkanovski a rematch. So now you've tied the belt up. Like there's no way. It doesn't even matter how he wins.
Yeah.
If he wins by knockout, by submission, by decision, even if it's a clear decision, you got to give Volkanovski another fight because he done beat him 3 times. So.
Yeah, I agree with that. Okay, so what about Korean Zombie? I think
he's done. He's out.
No. Now what's next for him? But how long do you think it's going to take them to rightfully put him or one of his fights into the Hall of Fame?
I think that the Korean Zombie belongs in the Hall of Fame just straight up. So
yeah, I agree with that too.
So here's my logic on that is I think that the UFC Hall of Fame is new. It's not as established as the NBA or Major League Baseball or pro football or anything like that. It's not that as established. And so in each of those Hall of Fames, you kind of have a Hall of Fame within a Hall of Fame, like the upper room, the upper tier. And those are the ones that are, like the Mount Rushmores of whatever that game or profession is, right? So I think that there's still room for people who didn't get a title, but were majorly influential in the sport and being an ambassador for the sport, and bringing in money, just bringing in fans, having that fan support. And, Cowboy got in on that same, wavelength. Uriah Faber got in on that same, with that same criteria. And I think the Korean Zombie belongs there because of what he did to a whole continent of Asia. Everybody knows who the Korean Zombie is. It's a whole continent.
Yeah.
So I think dude has like 1 million or 2 million Instagram followers. Like, you don't do that on accident. He's headlined every card he's been on since 2012. That's crazy. That dude's a star.
Every single one?
He
How many
belongs.
fights does he have? Hold on.
Remember,
I didn't know that.
Another thing is he had a 4-year layoff because of mandatory military service. That was his prime. So he could have, maybe, we don't know, but he could have been in contention during that time for a UFC championship.
What could have been the situation? Yeah.
But like that's a major could have been. But I think that even without that, even without giving him that caveat, like I think he belongs in the Hall of Fame. And I think that they'll put him in there.
Yeah. Yeah, I think, honestly, when you asked me, I was like, that's not a question, right? Like, he should be. And maybe the only question was, would it be just him in general, right? Overall, or just some of him?
He has some fights that could be put in there. He has, especially like the Leonard Garcia fight from WEC. If they want to go back to include WEC fights like that, that fight could go in there. Yeah. But I don't think that he needs that. He could be in as a like they have different wings, like the what?
Well, finish your thought. I'm looking at his record now.
What I was going to say was he was in the modern, or they have the modern wing, the contributor wing, the pioneer wing. They could put him in as a pioneer because of what he did for MMA in Asia. So if they didn't want to put him in as a modern fighter, they could put him in as a pioneer. So
I really like that. I like that they do that too. I didn't know that they broke it down that way. That's pretty interesting. So his record is 17-8-0. Man, that's a lot of fights. So I think Max is like 28 in like what, 5 or something, 6.
Something ridiculous. I think 6.
Yeah. But you're saying all of these fights in total for Korean Zombie, they've all been like headliners, or they were all on the main card?
He's been the headliner of every fight card that he's been on since 2012.
Okay, yeah, he's definitely deserving of that.
Like,
I hate when this happens, right? Like when they retire and it's like they're just gonna walk away completely, or like DC, he stuck around and I love it.
Paul Felder.
Paul Felder. I really fucking hope Dustin like sticks around, because I could I see that retirement coming soon. I could feel it in my soul. Like it's happening really soon.
Yeah, he's mentioned wanting to fight before the end of the year, like repeatedly. So
yeah. I
maybe
think
we
he
get
can
that
feel it too.
Benal Dariush fight that could be there.
Yeah, if he were to walk away right now, I would be so sad. But at the same time, it's a pretty good time to walk away, to be honest.
I think
that
I wouldn't be mad at him if he did. It just depends. Like I was saying, it depends on his goals. I'm ironically the article that I wrote for MMA Sucker was what to do with the lightweights, and I mentioned him taking the fight in that, but I think that he can rest on what he's done. He's a Hall of Famer as well.
For sure, and I think he can too, unless he wants to move up because he's a big boy. And there's a lot of fights up there for him. So
there are a lot of fights up there for him. But it's just a matter of, does he want to keep? What's the motivation? What's the end goal? Like, are you trying to make a run, or are you trying to have fun fights? You trying to make money? Like, what's the goal? And then you know, him being who he is, he'll attack that goal. But I just don't know what he wants to do. And I think that's what
genuinely
he's probably figuring it out.
Yeah. I agree with that. But man, Korean Zombie. That actually made me like tear up, right? Like, were you tearing up? I don't know if I asked you. I don't remember.
I was.
Yeah, I had a knot in my throat and everything. I was like, ooh, okay. I saw.
I don't see who. I don't know who wasn't. I mean, if you are a fan of
even if you're
UFC,
a new fan, like
the way that they did,
I think you're right.
Nobody that I've seen in the UFC that is retired is walking away to people singing to them. I haven't seen it. And this is like a movie. It was like a movie. And his wife comes down. Serenaded. She's hugging him and stuff. Like, it was almost like he didn't lose. And they didn't even boo Max. Like, they applauded Max. It wasn't like, you know, oh, we hate you, dude. It was like, it was all love all around. And that was really, really cool to see.
It was beautiful. And Max is, I think we're getting spoiled by these respectful fighters. And now we're starting to, we're not really happy with the fighters that are pretty disrespectful, right?
Like the Ian Garrys of the world.
You know what? Then that's a kind of a perfect little segue there, because, boy, that I'm still just, I didn't like it. I was rewatching some, our last show, and I'm like, that really was messed up. And I think that's what it is. Like, we're getting spoiled by these really respectful fighters, because, I mean, that's what you expect, right? Probably around 80 or maybe at a high 90% of fighters are respectful, because that's usually why you're, it's just a part of it. It's just a part of fighting. And I think if you say, like, the sport, then okay, it's a little bit different than being a fighter, like being disciplined. That's part of it. So
I would agree. I mean, like, I'm okay with, like, some trash talk about who you think is better and things like that. But when you start to bring other people into it, that's where I'm like, okay, now you can't be talking about people's families, their upbringing. Like, come on, now. Like, you only fighting the one person. Don't talk about all the other folks.
Yeah, I definitely agree.
That would be my thing.
For sure.
Yeah. So, like, what Ian Garry was doing, like, I think that's just what turned a lot of people off. Now, granted, he gained almost 100,000 followers after that, but
so shit. Forget. We don't know what we're talking about then, Ian. Okay, do what you do.
I guess it worked. But I mean, I think that, at least from what I've seen from MMA media, like, they just weren't really a fan of that, not because of what he was saying and us understanding what Neil was saying, what Neil Magny was saying. It was more so the fact that we all have seen Neil Magny for a long time, and we know his character, and him shitting on somebody that, one, did him a favor by filling in this fight, because his original opponent dropped out. So he could have just not got paid. But Neil showed up and he didn't, bring his A game, but he was there. So like he should have really been like, I appreciate you for showing up and stepping in, like not, giving
being
them,
an asshole.
Yeah, like that shit was foul. That shit was foul. I mean, we'll see. He might be different in his next fight. I don't know.
Yeah.
The Irish fighters tend to flip flop on whether they want to be the face or the heel, but
well, and
I don't know. We'll see what
and
he
in that
does.
case, then he's very marketable if he can flip flop between the two and have the ability to do that. That's actually pretty solid.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, hey, what do I know? I don't know.
I know, right? You said he gained however many followers. So like,
he did.
We're
he
new
did
to this
gain
game.
a lot of followers.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't like it though.
So,
I don't like it.
I'm not a fan either. But okay, so what did you think about Anthony and Ryan Spann? Did you think that was like a robbery for Ryan?
No, I didn't think it was a robbery. Now, I did think that Ryan won the fight. But it was one of those situations where, how when Bruce is about to read the cards or whatever, and you're like, it may go to this person. But yeah, exactly. That's exactly the phrase. Yeah, I wouldn't be mad,
Yeah.
And that's the way it was. Like, it went to Anthony, and I was like, well. But it did show me a couple of things. It showed me something for both sides. One, when they first fought, Anthony was a different fighter. He had more aggression. He had more purpose in the way that he fought. He wasn't fighting not to lose. He was fighting to win. And it seems like in these past two fights against Johnny Walker and against Ryan Spann, he's been fighting more not to lose. And I'm not sure where that's changed or why that's changed. I think that he's, at least from what I've seen, what I've heard from him, it seems like he's training just as hard as he always has. But I don't know. It's like
something's definitely different.
Yeah, something's different. I felt like when I saw him fight Glover Teixeira,
go to sleep sometime,
Yeah, when I saw him
get
fight
tired
of the what?
Huh?
You said lions get tired of the what?
Yeah, they get tired of the hunt.
I mean, I feel like when I saw him fight Glover Teixeira the first time, that like he looked like one of the best heavyweights that I've ever seen, including John Jones in the first round. And then Glover, weathered that storm and then started knocking his teeth out. And so
on paper though. I love Anthony. You know how much I fuck with Anthony, but that on paper shit is like, all right, man.
Man,
he's gotta chill with that.
Anthony was piecing him up. He looked amazing, and then Glover beat the shit out of him. It was terrible. I don't know what happened, and I haven't seen that Anthony Smith since.
I did not know he's from Corpus Christi.
Yeah, but I
didn't
mean,
know that.
Grew up in Nebraska, I believe.
Oh, Nebraska. Okay.
Yeah, Nebraska with him and who else? Drew Dober. Drew Dober was there too. So
in Nebraska or Corpus?
In Nebraska. Nebraska.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah. All right. Yeah. I didn't think it was like a robbery either, but same team. Like could have gone either way. It was a close fight.
And then fight. Like with Ryan,
except that one round that was like,
where Ryan
was 1 and 2.
Oh, when he messed up his eye. Yeah, I think that was the second round. Okay. Yeah. Ryan almost got him out of there, but I don't know.
That is one thing I noticed about Anthony is like when he gets hit, it's when and it hurts, it's super visible.
Yeah, it is
I don't know
now.
if that makes sense, but
yeah, it's just big reactions when he gets hit. He's like, oh,
yes,
like
that's exactly
it's
what
different.
it is. Yeah.
It's different.
Dude, what was it?
Oh,
yeah, you could. That's
what it seems
exactly what
like.
it is. He's got big reactions because, like, right after that, or actually, because I saw Max Holloway before, I went back to watch Anthony Smith because I was asleep. UFC, what the fuck? What time did it start? I'm gonna go there because I've got a bone to pick. That's early as fuck.
It's in Singapore. What do you expect? They had to play.
I don't even know.
At Singapore hours. That's prime time in Singapore.
Yeah. Well, it worked out for us, like you said. But anyway, I watched Max right before, and even like Max and Korean Zombie. There's no fucking reaction. They just eat it like nothing happened. Like it was almost like it went through their fucking face like a hologram, just like bing right through. No reaction. So then going from that to seeing, Anthony is like, God damn, dude, that's a big reaction. So he fell and everything, right? Like he got knocked down.
Yeah.
Right?
No, I mean,
like you fell to the floor, Siri.
He did.
Okay.
He did.
Yeah. I don't know. I still don't think it was like a robbery though. And
no,
you're right. So. He's fighting not to lose. That's a really, really big point. And like, when did that change?
Why did that change? That's my biggest thing. Why?
Is there a fight that just like I don't know, who was it? Was it Dillashaw? Whoever fought Dustin, and Dustin beat the bejesus out of them. After that, they were just like never the same. Who was that? Was that Dillashaw? No. Okay.
Dustin? That Dustin fought? Man. I can't remember. It wasn't Dillashaw's in 35. But when Justin fought Tony Ferguson, he has never been the same.
That one too.
He took
There's
his
another
whole
one.
life force.
So who else is there? I always confuse. It's like a gang of these fighters that don't look like at all, but I confuse the three of them.
Yeah, you confuse Dustin and TJ Dillashaw, and I'm like, they don't.
No, like Dillashaw, and then the guy that Aljo fought that like broke his arm, came out of his sock. Okay, well, who else is there?
I don't know these.
Is it the guy from like
Caucasian gentleman that you confuse?
Is it the guy? I don't like you for doing that, but anyway, is it the guy from Izzy's camp? The guy from Izzy's camp, the Australian guy.
Kaikar France? Are you talking about Dan Hooker?
Wasn't it Dan Hooker that Dustin fought? Yeah. And like he was never the same. But that one was like severe, right? And like Anthony has that, and I wonder if it was John. If it was John Jones, that just like
no. It was the intruder that came into his house. That dude is the champion.
Johnny Walker? Who was
whoever? Johnny keeps telling him that wasn't him. The person that came in and fought him in his house.
Oh my gosh! I'm laughing because you're silly, and I don't want to laugh about like that situation. But
no, of course not, but
yeah.
That obviously plagues him. Remember, he did, like you said, he brought that up in the fight with Johnny Walker. And I think that he used that to motivate himself. But like that, obviously, if you're in a fight and that's the first thing that comes to your mind to bring up to motivate you, there's some remnants there. And I don't know if that's a psychological situation.
Yeah.
I don't know. But I hope not. I hope not, because Anthony is a really talented fighter. Mm-hmm. We're just not seeing that talent right now. He just doesn't have, something's missing. And I feel like it's a mental thing. I don't think it's physical. I don't think that he's physically broken down.
I don't know, man. He is. I'm not a
But
fighter,
you know,
okay? But everyone knows
yeah.
this. So, but his cardio doesn't seem the same, you know?
Mm-hmm.
He always seems so exhausted now.
Seems tentative. I don't know. I don't know.
I mean,
I don't know what
exhausted
it
like
is.
before he gets out of the first round. Like visibly just like.
I mean, that could be a mental thing too. You know what I'm saying? Like when you get on, if you're going to get on the Peloton and you in your mind are like, whew, I'm tired. Even before you start, you're going to be so tired after 5 minutes.
That's okay. That's very true. I mean, that's basic, right? If you tell yourself you're, you know, so
Yeah.
I agree with that.
I think that has a lot to do with it, but I don't know. And you know that they've been talking about, or at least people, the amateur matchmakers have been throwing out him fighting Khalil Roundtree. Like, no. First of all, he won the fight.
I saw
he shouldn't
that.
fight back.
Yeah.
But
did
come on,
Anthony
Khalil?
call him out?
I don't know. Well, he didn't do that on the mic, like after the fight. No, he didn't call out anybody. He plugged the Believe You Me podcast and, you know, said some nice things and then got out of there. He said, you know what, specifically, he said, I just want to go home. Now, what does it tell you? So, like, I don't know.
He's fighting not to lose. That's what it tells me. Ridiculous.
I know, right? That is
Which
crazy.
actually, okay, so, well, wait, did you want to talk about like kind of what's next? Because I don't even think we jumped into Ryan. I feel bad. Like he's kind of, no one's really talking about.
Let me say one. I'm gonna say one thing about Ryan Spann.
Yeah,
is he? They were giving him an opportunity to shine off of what they think is going on with Anthony. They feel like Anthony is declining, so they were using Ryan and that rematch and that heat that they had previously, which they didn't have in this one, to kind of push Ryan up towards the top, and Ryan just wasn't able to capitalize. He missed
the opportunity.
He did. And you know what? Like, I feel like
he did not look like horrible.
No, he didn't look horrible, but when he had opportunities, I feel like he was a little gun shy. But I feel like he, at this point right now, I feel like Ryan Spann is the better fighter. But he just didn't show it that night. So now him against Khalil Roundtree, that I can do. I could do that one. But let's not sacrifice Anthony Smith to Khalil Roundtree like that. I just don't think he's in the right headspace for it. I don't want to see it. I don't want to see that. But moving on to UFC Paris. So we got really two fights that really stand out.
I'm going to be honest. Which one are you going to talk about first? We have only two fights that stand out.
Like it's a rough card. It's rough.
I think what I think is that this is almost like when you're watching a series and they kind of have like those setup episodes. That's what this fight is. And there's two fights that they're trying to use as setups for, you know, something bigger. And they're like, well, now we got to use everything else is just fluff. That's kind of how I see this card. Now, I unless they've updated it since the last time I looked at it, and I'm no disrespect to any of the other fighters, because most of the time it's like the prelims. Like we don't fucking know any of those guys, and they usually end up being really good. But that is what I think. Prediction. So those two fights are Cyril Gane and don't know how to say this, but is it Serghei Spivak? Did they say it? Okay.
Serghei Spivak, yeah.
Spivak. Okay, well, why didn't there just two E's? English is the worst. And then Manon and Rose
Namajunas? You just call her Rose. But yeah, Namajunas.
Yeah. So I do think these are setup fights.
Mm-hmm.
One, so Spivak can fight. I don't know, whoever. It can't even fucking be the winner of John Jones and Fireman because they're both going to retire, clearly.
Probably, yeah.
So, actually, I'm probably wrong about that.
So, I think that this card is all about Serghei. That's just what it's about. So,
okay, so I'm focusing on Spivak, but it should actually be City over here.
Yeah. Like, I think that the UFC is trying to allow him to build back the momentum that he had previously.
I would agree, but like him and Rose.
Yeah, for sure. Rose is fighting a striker, so she's not fighting somebody who's going to just wait around until she does what she does to touch her 2 times and then win a championship. Like, that's not who Manon is. So she's going to be in for a fight. And Rose is a counter striker. So if you don't offer her anything, a lot like the way that Izzy was when he fought Yoel Romero, the same way that Anderson Silva was when he fought Damian Maia. If you don't offer a counter striker something to counter, then we're going to be standing here all day. I mean, 2 of the most exciting fighters the UFC has ever seen gave us one of the worst fights that we've ever seen. And that's Derek Lewis against Francis Ngannou. Like, that fight was awful. And it's because there's 2 counter strikers waiting for something to happen. So I don't think that that's what's going to happen in this one. I think that Manon is going to push the pace because she sees the opportunity in front of her as well. If she wins this fight, she'll be next in line to fight the winner of Alexa Grasso and Valentina Shevchenko.
Which I really hope she fights Valentina Shevchenko. They just got to announce it.
Who?
The UFC.
Oh, that's right. You got it on your card, huh? Yeah. I mean, I don't think that's going to happen. I think that.
Yeah. Like Valentina has to
I'm
win.
going to side with Rose on this, but.
Okay. You're Look, I tried to download some of her older fights. Even ESPN was like, you actually want to stay awake on the plane. You don't want to go to sleep, right?
Why?
So I couldn't even download it.
It's funny, too, because, like, I saw...
no, I just think, honestly, like, the UFC app is horrible. Like, you can't... You download some fights, but...
It could use some work.
Some?
The ESPN one is really
they're both. I mean, it's the same thing. They're horrible. Really hard to use.
Well, they're two different apps. They're not run by the same people, but like the ESPN one is the one. Nah, they're not. They're two like the UFC runs theirs and ESPN is but it doesn't matter. Like both of them are questionable, but like honestly, I think the UFC one, when it comes to actually watching fights, that one is the better one, but you can only watch it one direction. Like, don't let me pause it and go back and
pause, drive. Just it's like linear. You can't just go. If you miss, you blinked, it's too late. You can't go back. It's like the fucking pig on Toy Story clicking the channel. Too late. I just gotta loop around. Like, don't move it. But anyway, they're terrible. I couldn't download it to even feel differently about her. You know, just kind of go back, check the tapes. I want to give her the benefit of the doubt just by on some dumb shit of, okay, well, she is in the same camp with John Jones, so clearly He sees something in her.
So
they like spar together and shit, right? So like,
no, you talking about Rose?
it may just
Rose
be like
is no, she's with Kamaru. She's with Kamaru and Justin. I think you just don't like her, but like I think that
but that I
she
didn't get
suffered.
there like until she had her like Will Ferrell stepbrothers moment or whatever that was, where she was it was outside of the UFC.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like, it's been some time since she last fought. And she goes, it was a weird cage, a weird situation. I couldn't get used to it. Like, I didn't
the excuses.
dislike her until that moment. That I was like, what the fuck? Okay, this is weird. But just as
you
a
talking
fighter
about
in
the submission
general,
match where she lost?
yeah.
You talking about that one?
Yep.
Oh, against Jillian Robertson, yeah.
Yeah, because that was like the second time, right, that something weird like that happened. Oh, the Carla thing. I'm the best. That was weird. So yeah, but
those were back to back too. So
yeah, that's probably what it is. I don't know if I like dislike her. It was just like one of those like, that's fucking weird. I just can't bring myself to watch an old fight of hers, and you know I love crate digging. I'm gonna go through some old fights, but I can't do it. There's just something.
Yeah, I think a graphic that I saw said that nobody has had more fans turn on them from one fight than Rose Namajunas. It's
really?
crazy. Yeah,
I didn't know
it's
that.
crazy.
That makes me feel bad.
It really is because of that Carla fight. Now, like I've said before, I think that she's an amazing striker, and she's really good on the ground as well. That Jillian Robertson situation notwithstanding, she actually is a really good MMA grappler. But like I said, counter striker. She's looking to set traps, and in order for that trap to work, we need somebody to walk through it. And if that person never walks through it, it's never going to fire, you know? So that's kind of what she was in when it came to Carla. And so that's just the taste that she left in everybody's mouth. You know, everybody forgot that the current champion, she's beat him twice. 2 times. Not close. So
I saw that dude, not like the last video that was talking about she barely knocked John Weili out, right? Like, and fair enough, right? Because I say that. I'm like, I don't think she was knocked out. It's been some time, and I've seen a lot more fights, and I'm like, okay, yes, she got knocked out. She came back quick. She still got knocked out. Early stoppage, I think, anyway.
Anytime somebody falls like that, that's what it's about, is how they fell. And she fell extra fucked up.
Yeah.
So
she fell.
They called it.
She fell.
Her whole lower half of her body stopped working.
They said, we need a break. All right, we're back.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They shut it down. Like literally the Windows music. So yeah, that was it. So I mean, she doesn't get the respect for being a 2-time champion. So like won the belt. She won the belt off of an all-time great, Joanna Jędrzejczyk. Beat her 2 times, finished her. Then defends her belt, and then loses to Jessica Andrade on a head slam, and comes back, beats Jessica Andrade, then knocks out the current champ, and then beats him again. Like,
I'll tell you
what do you want her to do?
Some of the shit she says is just kind of cringe. Like, I'm the best. That was weird as fuck. I don't know, but I did not know the whole, like, fans turning against her so quickly. That does make me feel bad.
It is funny that people say, that it is, because you're not the only person that I've heard that from, as far as like
what?
that I'm the best, and being cringe and weird. But she's not wrong. When it comes to the best strawweight of all time, she's in the conversation. So I don't take issue with that necessarily. I think maybe it's just because I had already settled on the fact that, not to say that you haven't, but I already settled on the fact that she's not normal. She's different. Not in a bad way. She's just different. And she's with somebody that's different. Also not in a bad way, but like you put those two things together and it's just, you don't know what the hell's coming out of that. And that's where we are. So I feel like, but I still believe in her in this fight. I think she's going to be prepared. I think that Manon is relatively to MMA. So I think that Rose is going to take advantage of that. Even if it's at a bigger weight, I think that she still takes advantage of that and she wins the fight. But now that puts it in a weird situation because, again, I don't hear anybody talking about this, but if Valentina wins, will Rose fight her? And because they've trained together, they're friends.
I thought they said they would not do that.
Huh?
First of all, I giggled, but second, I thought they said that they wouldn't do that, but it's kind of like a Merab Aljo situation.
Yeah, it feels like that. Like, yeah, nobody's saying anything about this, and maybe it won't be an issue, but I feel like it's going to be an issue. But we don't know. It may be a moot point if both of them lose, or if only one of them win. Who knows? But
I almost feel like this is what that could be. Both of them lose. Maybe. I don't know. I actually don't have a pick because I haven't seen anything from Manon. Hopefully we're pronouncing her name correctly, but I haven't seen any of her stuff, any of her fights. So. Yeah. UFC, what is it called? App hasn't made it easy to watch her fights.
Yeah, she's... I don't know. I'll let you watch the fights and kind of draw your own conclusion from it. But I think that she's a great striker. But I think that she's, like you said, one dimensional in the sense of just being young in her MMA career. Let me see how many fights she got. She got 11 fights, and she beat Katlyn Chookagian in her last fight.
Then you just got to beat Manon you got to beat Valentina. That's what you got to do. And she's got to beat Valentina in, spectacular
We got to
fashion.
find out as a community if they will fight each other. That's what we need to figure out.
Well, that's what you got to do.
I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. But I have serious questions.
Like, what? Oh, well, he hasn't figured it out yet. So y'all figuring it out together.
Oh, you know what? I don't know if we'll be able to do the bit because it's already a pretty long podcast, but I did want to bring this point up is
we haven't seen each other, so.
Said, but Dana White brought up in his post-fight interview at the Contender Series, he brought up somebody asked him a question about Merab, and he was like, you know how I feel about that situation. If you are in the UFC and you don't want to fight, then maybe you don't need to be in the UFC. So.
Wow, Dana.
All right,
I agree. I think you heard me. I was like, okay, y'all want to fight. Actually, I agree with Dana. I agree with him.
They're not going to fight. I wouldn't want to push him out of the UFC, but if I were Dana and he's not going to fight for the belt, like I'd probably just start matching him up against hard people. Have him fight Umar.
Wait. So is the whole maybe you don't need to be in the UFC? Is that to Merab, Aljo, or both?
Merab.
Why Merab?
Because he's
like, you know what? Fuck you, Merab. I'm gonna kick you out of the UFC before you can kill my golden boy.
The interview that he did with the Schmo.
Before you maul my golden boy with these 87 takedown attempts.
Well, I don't think that he would have an issue making that fight. Maybe, but
okay,
he won't make that fight right now because the Cheeto fight is the one that sells. But Merab did that interview with the Schmo, and he said that nobody should fight Sean O'Malley unless it's Aljamain, Sterling, or Merab.
Who said that?
That's who he should fight.
Merab or
Merab.
Okay,
Merab said that.
That interview was unbearable.
It was dry, but the Schmo asked him, "So, like, what are you gonna do?" And he said that he gonna sit out. He don't have a problem sitting out until they figure that situation out. So
Merab does have a point there too, because honestly, they are both the number one contender. So
no, I don't think so.
But they are though.
I don't think Aljo is the number one contender anymore.
What the fuck? He was this So what is he? What's he ranked in that division?
I mean,
okay, so wait,
yeah, he's ranked. He's ranked there.
Yeah,
he's ranked there.
So just because you're number one doesn't mean you're number one contender. So what the fuck does number one mean?
Robert Whittaker was the number one contender until this last fight. He was the number one contender for a while. But that don't mean that's who's fighting for the belt next.
I see why Chael doesn't pay attention to the ranking things. It's just
Max is the number one contender right now.
Yeah, that ranking thing is weird. That doesn't make sense. This is number one bullshit. That's exactly what all of this ranking stuff is on. It's weird.
I think that they have to do it. They have to do it for a number of reasons, but it's not going to be perfect because people are choosing it.
There's not a perfect science. That's true.
It's going to be wrong, but more often than not, they're close to being where people, having people where they're supposed to be, for the most part.
Okay.
But it's not perfect. You can go through each division and find something that's wrong.
What do you think? Do you think Gane's right? Do you agree with him? Is there or to a certain extent? What do you think?
I agree. I would agree with him to a certain extent. I don't think that he should be out of the UFC per se. Mm-hmm. But I think that if you're not going to fight, for the belt, which is what most people are in the game to do, if you're not going to fight for the belt, then okay, cool. You'll fight these other people who want to fight for the belt. But Merab is 32 years old. He can't be sitting around for too long.
So, okay. I don't know.
I think, and I haven't really looked at the featherweight division, looking all the way down the rankings to kind of match people up. But I think that Merab fights if he's going to wait. If he's he's still not healthy. His hand's still kind of messed up. If I were him, I will wait until next year and then try to fight Henry Cejudo. Just do that.
Yeah.
And see how things work out, because you don't know, Sean, more than likely, I think that Sean's going to fight Cheeto. Mm-hmm. And if Sean wins, you already got that heat. You beat Henry Cejudo, then you walk right into that title. Aljo's going to have to fight somebody else, but he's going to go on vacation. So the timing kind of matches up. But if Aljo, had his time at the top, Merab, it's your turn to try to have your time at the top. I think that Aljo would respect that, and Aljo already talked about going to 145. I think Merab needs to go for it now, and I feel like Dana is trying to push him that way, even though it's a negative push. It's still a push to go. Like, dude, you need to go for it now.
I was gonna say that. Like, I don't think he'll kick him out, but I think Dana will say shit just to push and pull. Like,
yeah,
that's really it. So,
I agree.
I know Rob better pay attention. His name is not Rob. Merab. Better pay attention.
Yeah. For sure.
Khabib said something about his dad telling him how important mentality was, like, in the cage, I guess. I think is what he said. And he's like, it really is all about folding or not folding under pressure. I don't know. Something about the whole, this is how diamonds are made. You know, I'm sure in his like native language that shit sounded badass, but in English it's like pretty common saying. So. But it does make me think about like,
it's true. It's true.
Merab and stuff. And,
I mean, yeah, I think he needs to push his way into the title mix and take what he worked for. I mean, I think that if he fought Sean O'Malley, I would think that would be a ridiculously close fight.
It's very like almost like a corporate fucking approach that Dana White and the UFC are taking and moving to, or have been. They've always been this way, right? So it is more visible to us because we consume so much of it. Yeah,
and I think that they're getting better at it too. I think they're getting better.
I think they're not hiding it as much. To be honest, I think they're like, this is a business. Like, what do you think we do here? You know what I'm saying? Like, they're not.
Yeah.
Yeah, we see
don't
them
coddle,
as fighters.
Friendships.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I didn't know y'all were friends. Oh, guys, you don't have to fight. Okay, hug it out. Like, they're not doing that.
That's so true. Like, we go with that all the time. Like, why do you care about that person's feelings? We got shit to do. Okay? And, yeah, we have to deal with that kind of stuff all the time. So,
yeah.
People that watch and consume, and then the people that are fighters. I think we're having trouble seeing that. Like, we hear it all the time. It's a business. Or, people think I'm a company man. And I think we just kind of have to accept and move on to like, well, yeah, you're right. It's a business. So when shit doesn't make sense, like, who's fighting who's the number one contender, who should be the number one contender, I think we should probably take a step back and, like, for real, just kind of stop throwing the whole, like, what's the money fight under the rug as just, like, some throwaway excuse. It's like, no, bitch, that's the number one excuse. That's the number one thing. So.
Yeah, that's what they come there for, to make money. So. If it goes in that favor, I mean, you kind of can't be mad at them.
That's it right there. Like, this is integrity, all that out the window. It's like, it doesn't make money. Yeah.
I mean, this is the same company that did this mega fight with Conor McGregor and Floyd Mayweather after repeatedly saying, we don't do gimmick fights. So if it makes that money, they will make some concessions.
We love you in this household, okay, Dana? And I'm not at the house right now, but we love you in this household.
Yeah, we do. I mean, and I will say it every time. I ain't mad at you. I'm not mad at you. Make your money. Gives us some more shit to talk about.
Normally we're like, oh, Dana, that ain't right. But this time we're like, ooh.
No, I see it. I understand. I get it.
agree with you on this one.
Because guess what? I watched the fight too. So any goofy fight that you throw out there, I'm probably going to watch it and break it down and talk about it, spend time looking at it multiple times.
Goofy fight.
The shit's going to happen. You know what I'm saying? If they throw that Elon Musk, Mark Zuckerberg out there, guess what? I'm breaking that shit down. I'm saying, shit, Elon Musk got a nasty left hand. You know what? I think that, like, I'm going to be breaking that shit down. So
what the fuck did Mike Tyson say? He said extraterrestrial gymnastics, something like that.
Oh yeah, something
goofy. He said Elon Musk didn't look like he looked extraterrestrial. I think that's what he said. He doesn't even look human.
Yeah. Yeah, he does got a interesting face.
Oh, yeah.
He's had some work done, right? He's had some work done.
I'm not putting my feet in that. I have no idea. I do not know. But
don't shut down my Twitter. But
alien DNA. Alien DNA for sure.
Yeah, he's like a Futurama character. But
it's a situation for sure.
Yeah, it's weird. But point being, like, I mean, whatever he throws out there, you know, I'm gonna watch it, at least initially.
Yeah.
And so, you know, gimmick fight or whatever.
I couldn't even hide that one. Yeah.
Yeah. And sucked all the air out the room. It got dark over there.
All the air out of Seattle. Like.
So yeah. That was a lot. I guess we'll talk to you after Rose wins and Cyril Gane wins. Is that right? That's right.
That's your prediction. We're gonna roll with it. If you like it, I love it. Okay. So
cool.
Yeah,
All right.
We'll see.
Cool. Well, until next time.